What is up, you fucks? We are back with another edition of the Doom Scroll Cast. It is me, your boy, Lord Botha, and we got some pretty rich stories for you tonight. We got several things on the docket tonight. We got Sony taking another L. We got PlaysStation taking more L's. This time from their classic L machine, that is Bungie, which has been a cursed company ever since they left Xbox. They left Microsoft. They are like the curse of the Bambino, right? They are like the Babe Ruth curse of gaming, going from Microsoft to Sony. Because it just keeps getting worse for them and keeps getting worse for PlayStation with every move that happened, because this all revolves around Destiny, and we'll get into that. Because Destiny, if you don't know, is a dead franchise now, which for someone like me who never cared about Destiny and never thought Destiny was interesting or something I wanted to pick up, I view that as nothing of value was lost. But a lot of people apparently like Destiny, so we're going to get into that. We also have The Mandalorian and Grogu came out this past weekend. Here's a shocker. The movie that everybody thought was going to be a flop and did bad, and is going to be a flop. And we're going to get into exactly how bad it is for them and for Lucasfilm. And what else? What else we got? Oh, yeah. 007 First Light also dropped today. I have a stream of it. Just played it. If you want to go check out about the first 3 hours of gameplay. Spoiler alert. It's very cutscene heavy. At least the first 3 hours. Because it was very cutscene tutorial. Cutscene tutorial. Extended cutscene tutorial. 3 hours of cutscenes and tutorials. It was a bit excessive, but we'll get into more of the details of that in just a minute. We also got some political news. J.D. Vance might not run in 2028. Gonna get into all the specifics about that, what that might mean politically and all that. But yeah, pretty meaty topics, pretty thick topics. We also got a whole bunch of new sounds that I've actually put time to put sounds on the soundboard, so we might hear some of those today. I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, lots of subjects. If you don't know what this show is, basically, let me explain it to you. I cracked open a can of Mountain Dew, even though it is 10:30 at night. I delayed the stream, by the way, because I accidentally took a nap. So we're going to be up and awake for a while. Yeah. So, I'm pretty excited for some of these topics. Let's just jump into it, right? Let's just jump into it. Because, oh yeah, and I forgot to mention, Obsession. Obsession came out. It's doing really well. It is another horror phenomenon. A phenomenon with the horror genre. that is making millions, tens of millions of dollars on basically a zero budget. Embarrassing Hollywood, essentially. But we're gonna get into this story here. Let's see here. You know what? Let's just start off with James Bond, right? Now, 007 First Light came out, and its reviews are out. Its full review is out now that the game is out. And we can take a look here. Look at here. Okay. I'm in the gaming position. We'll make me a little bigger. Not too big. No one really wants to see my ugly face. But 007 First Light, right? So it says here, from their own page, reviews are in. Or reviews are here. The team is very excited to see the first hour of review scores coming in at 89, which is a pretty good score, by the way. I have played the game. Like I said, is it deserving of an 89 on OpenCritic, 88 on Metacritic? I don't think so. From what I've played, the game is about a 6 of 10. All right? And I'm being generous. I'm being generous based upon my experience. There are some people out there who are already doubling this game absolute shit. Dog shit. I mean, we had Heel versus Babyface. He streamed it. He said that the game was rough. That's just all he posted about it. I watched some of his stream. He was shitting on it for most of the game. Mauler, he also was streaming it. But they're a little different in that, like, they aren't really, like, equipped for or those aren't really what they... How do I word this? Mauler's the type of streamer that, like, he's the type of video game player that you give him a video game, he's going to try to do everything within the bounds of it to, like, test its limits, see what can be done, see what can't be done, and then basically judge and sort of nitpick on those, like, limitations, right? Break down the game by every single element and all that. Not really review the game on a whole experience. And, you know, for certain things, in a narrative level, that's actually important. And I think for something like a story, that's important. But, like, limitations of a video game, like, how many people are, and I saw other people reviewing the game like this, how many people are trying to purposely crash the car into, like, one of the other NPCs where there are almost no NPCs there. There's just the one guy to see what will happen, see what they can do. Like, how many people are doing that? Is that really necessary? And should we fully negatively judge a game just because they don't add a mechanic where that one NPC doesn't react? Right? When most of the driving sequences probably take place on the open road. I don't know. I haven't gotten that far into the game yet. I don't know how reactionary it is. But it seems like there is a certain set of streamers who have already decided that this game is dog shit. And even though if you go watch their streams, there are certain parts of the game that they do end up saying is all right or that they like or whatever. And I think that what we're getting here is people coming to the realization that this game, while not great, because it's far from great, trust me, it's better than what people imagined they were going to get. First off, anybody who's like, this game's woke DEI bullshit, yada, 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 you need to chill the fuck out. Because I'm just going to put it right out there. There are girls in this game. They are hot. And James Bond does smash. And he is a ladies' man. Now, there. I will say, where is it? Yeah. Okay, here. This PC game article is complete bullshit. Where they say, like, 007 First Light's James Bond probably won't be a sexist, misogynist dinosaur. That's a sensationalist headline, and it's also bullshit concerning this game. because like it's true to the character. Like I think a lot of people conflate like the idea of James Bond and the character of James Bond with just like Sean Connery. And they tie Sean Connery to James Bond and who Sean Connery was as a person. Like Sean Connery, the guy who said that like, hey, every so often you need to give a woman a little slap to get him in line. You know, something like that. That's not really what James Bond was. James Bond was a womanizer, a charmer. He fucked a lot, all right? And he wasn't beyond using his charm and ability to get into places, get what he needed out of those relationships. You know, kind of how spies are always depicted. And he's the archetype for that. But like sexist, misogynist, the character of James Bond really isn't that. Some of the writing for James Bond movies is like that. But I mean, like we think about Goldfinger, right? Pussy Galore is the James Bond girl in Goldfinger. And what's the first thing? People forget this scene. The first time that James Bond meets Pussy Galore, she says that her name is, she says, I'm Pussy Galore. And he looks up and he just says, I must be dreaming. because it's so ridiculous and unbelievable. Like, people conflate this idea that, like, James Bond was somehow a sexist and misogynist character, whatever, just because, like, he was charming, banged a lot of women. When did you ever, like, when was James Bond, like, you realize that, like, James Bond is, like, a movie series. Did people forget that, what was it? The James Bond movie with Pierce Brosnan. The name just went out of my head. Oh God, I have to look this up now. The autism is too real. GoldenEye, that's it. People forget that, like, GoldenEye, like, the James Bond girl in that, like, movie is like a scientist, like Russian scientist or whatever. And they forget that, like, a lot of these women in these, like, movies are, like, scientists and specialists and, like, people who are really good at certain STEM jobs. Like, James Bond was promoting women in STEM. I mean, what's the most sexist thing James Bond movies done? Like, other than the sex stuff, like, I think in From Russia with Love, like, they have a scene where, like, they have two women, like, fight in, like, an arena, like, like a dirt arena fight or whatever, and like backwater, whatever the fuck, South America or a European country, is like Romani like fights with women, and like they're like hissing at each other or whatever. Like, that could be conceived as sexist, I guess, or whatever. But the character of James Bond overtly isn't, I don't think, sexist or misogynistic. So this whole headline was bullshit to begin with. And guess what? It just depicts Bond like Bond has kind of always been, which is kind of a ladies' man, a womanizer. I will say, story-wise, this game, again, only 3 hours into it, it's been mostly cutscenes and tutorials. But I will say, narratively, this game, unless they do a hard shift really soon, it's also starting to feel like James Gunn's James Bond and the Justice Gang. Because, like, they add characters to this game and give James Bond basically a social circle in the spy world that it's a little weird. It makes it a little weird because, like, we think of double O's as, like, lone wolf agents, and James Bond always seems like a lone wolf agent. Like, that's part of his whole mystique, right, is that he's kind of a lone wolf. So like either something really bad is about to happen to all these people that he goes through training with, or like they're just gonna be like along for the ride in the game, and it's just gonna be it's gonna be the Justice Gang. It's gonna feel like that, but it's feeling more James Bond than I thought it was. What I was gonna get out of this experience, I thought I was gonna get a game that was gameplay wise fun to play, and overall as a video game enjoyable with maybe a good narrative, but did not feel like a James Bond game. Did not feel like James Bond at all. Could be generic spy movie number 4. Generic spy game number 4. But it doesn't really feel like that. It feels like it feels a little bit more James Bond than I thought it was going to be. But I don't know. The jury's still out. I'm probably going to honestly, I will say this has one thing. It has one thing going for it, which is that I want to play more. A lot of times with these games that come out, especially nowadays, I don't have that feeling. I don't have that feeling that I want to play more. I'll be honest with you, Crimson Desert, I've never felt at any point like I really want to play more of Crimson Desert. I just have, and that thing's chock full of fucking content. And I'll tell you why. Because Crimson Desert, it has no attachment to anything. It doesn't make you feel anything. It's a bunch of mechanics thrown together with an aesthetic, but there's no soul to it really. Nothing that connects you to anything. No compelling narrative. There's a narrative. I don't know. The characters feel like you have an outside view, really, not knowing them in this way. I don't know. It's hard to explain. And I don't know. Crimson Desert always felt like that game that you could jump into. Like I can jump into, play for like an hour or so, and then just leave. Like do a mission or two and then just leave. And I can keep doing that back and forth whenever I want. Which is, interestingly enough, very MMO. MMOs tend to do that, give you that feeling. And Crimson Desert was originally supposed to be an MMO. So that kind of makes sense. This doesn't do that. This makes me feel like, hey, I want to play more. I want to see where this is going. Maybe it goes nowhere. Maybe it's one of those situations where I keep waiting for it to get good, get better, and it never does. And then I'm shit out of luck. Wasted my time. But at least there's potential there with something. Is it Game of the Year worthy? I don't think so. I don't think so. If GTA 6 still releases this year, it's going to beat this. This will probably be on the list for it because the who's who's of gaming and the industry are going to want it on there, but it ain't going to win. Sorry. No. But yeah, like I said, it's very okay. It's a 6 out of 10 right now. It has the potential to be a lot lower. It has the potential to be more. Maybe not a lot more, but more. So we'll see. Again, anybody calling this game like overly woke, like is not playing it. Yes, there's some DEI bullshit in there, stuff that doesn't make sense, but it's all pretty much the stuff that we've seen already. Black Money Penny, Pakistani fucking M. That's pretty much it. It's not overly woke and like DEI heavy other than that, as far as I've seen. And it doesn't really have political messaging other than there are bad guys. The bad guys are trying to do harm to our nation, so stop the bad guys. That's pretty much the themes that have gone on. There's also some anti-AI stuff. It looks like it's going in the direction of anti-AI. I will say that like gameplay wise and almost narrative wise, it is very strong Watchdog vibes, which is not necessarily a bad thing. Because I controversially, I like Watch Dogs. I like the first Watch Dogs game. I played a little bit of Watch Dogs 2. It didn't really resonate with me. I have a hard time playing any protagonist that wears skinny jeans, by the way. But it didn't really resonate with me. It felt too much of a stray from Watch Dogs, like 1, but also not approachable enough for somebody that's new. I don't know. And I did like Watch Dogs Legion. I thought Watch Dogs Legion was a lot of fun, even though some people really hated that game. And I don't think it did really well, like financially. But hey, I think it has potential to do a lot, get a lot better of a score from me as the game goes on. Also a lot worse, so we'll see. Let's see here. Let's do Mando. All right. So, if you hadn't heard, Mandalorian and Grogu came out this weekend, Memorial Day weekend. Directly comparable to something like Solo, Star Wars story. The Mandalorian and Grogu, as Culture Crave states here, opens to 163 million globally. Globally. In its first 4 days. A 4-day box office of 163. Their production budget was 165.
Okay.
They didn't even make their production budget back over the first 4 days. Yeah, this is a flop. Because you have to think, right? Production budget of 165. You have double that on promotion. And they promoted the fuck out of this movie. Let's be honest. Super Bowl commercials, all that. Whatever people thought of those that Super Bowl ad, which is bad, poorly. But they promoted the hell out of this. So probably double that. And then you're going to have theater cut 163 globally, which means that in reality, domestically, this thing made I think actually it made more domestic. If I remember the actual box office that's brought up. Let me see here. I wonder if I still have that. Oh, shit. No, fuck. There we go. Let's see here. I don't think I do. Hold on, I can put it up here. Okay. Yep. 98 million domestic, 63 international, 161 is what Box Office Mojo is saying it made so far. Domestic opening of $81 million. So, domestic opening day, May 22nd, 81 million, and not a whole lot after that. That's not good. And I think this movie's going to be dead by the second weekend. Like a massive fall off. Because I think Solo, which by the way, let's see here. Solo had a like 70% fall off in its box office from the first weekend to the second weekend. That's massive. Now, I saw Solo, and controversially, I thought Solo was okay. I didn't think it was great. I don't think it was like really good. I thought it was okay. I struggled to accept Alden Ehrenreich, I think that was his name, as Han Solo, even after by the movie's end, because it just didn't feel, he didn't feel like Han Solo. Like, even they could have gotten better actors to feel like Han Solo than him. That's what I felt like. And it just didn't fit. And it completely threw a monkey wrench into the what Disney wanted to do, which was essentially replace all the legacy actors so they could make a reboot of Star Wars the way they want to make it, the way they envisioned it, which they're still eventually going to do. And I think what they're going to do is they're going to remake it, and then they're going to offshoot timeline this bullshit that they made in the sequel trilogy. And then they're going to try to retroactively fix it and give people more of what they want, which they'll probably still fuck up and get wrong with their trilogy, right? Or their 3 trilogies or whatever. If Star Wars lasted, honestly, Star Wars needs to go away for a little while, as Lucas even said, so people miss it, and then have some hype built around it again, come back. Maybe. You know, you re-release in theaters the original trilogy a little bit, like 5 years from now or something, get a little hype going, get people nostalgic about it again, then you try to bring it back. But they're not going to do that, because it's a billion plus billions of dollars property that fucking Disney owns, and they're not just going to let it sit there, not do anything for them. In some point, at some way, as a business, you sort of get it, sort of understand. You don't want to just sit on an asset, not use it. But when you're constantly abusing that asset and just running it into the ground, what's the fucking point? But as the headline says here, The Mandalorian and Grogu has the lowest box office opening for a Star Wars film in the Disney era. And this is the important part here. Solo, which was the biggest flop for Star Wars, right? In the history of the Star Wars as a movie franchise, Solo made $171 million globally in its opening weekend, higher than The Mandalorian and Grogu's $165 million global takings, even before adjusting for inflation, $226.8 million. Keep in mind that inflation is a big thing, because there's been significant inflation from 2018 to 2026, almost a decade, you know. So Solo ended up making $392.9 million at the global box office, but it was considered a flop, considered the first Star Wars flop due to its enormous $275 million budget. Which, interestingly enough, I guess $165 million budget was also considered enormous for something like The Mandalorian and Grogu, because it didn't make it back. And at the end of the day, I think we're going to see The Mandalorian and Grogu struggle to hit $400 million, $350, and that's disaster. We're talking disaster here. And even so Culture Crave made this post here, and in their own post, they're trying to sweep for fucking Star Wars, saying More info. Marketing budget is unknown. Okay. If they're trying to say, oh, guys, the marketing budget is unknown, as if that's supposed to be like, hey, guys, they actually didn't spend that much money on the marketing, that's complete and utter horseshit. Everybody knows that horseshit. They had Super Bowl ads. They promoted the hell out of this movie with fucking influencers and meet and greets and ads on fucking everywhere. Like, this wasn't a movie that they just buried in the promotional work, all right? No, they promoted this movie heavily and spent millions of dollars on promoting it. It's probably the standard, like, the production budget times over. So yeah. This is not a good defense. Not an applicable defense. THR sources say $500+ million box office makes the film profitable theatrically. Listen. Again, we're trying to say, hey, it's a low box office, guys. This thing has to make less than, Superman had to make in the box office. And, which, by the way, Superman barely broke even. Not even profitable, like broke even. And also, $500 million, still probably not going to hit that number.
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
Yeah, probably not going to hit that number. The movie had $100 million, sold $100 million in ad partnerships. Really? Really? We're doing ad partnerships now? We're sweeping for Disney by saying the movie sold $100 million in ad partnerships. First off, that seems sus. I'm not 100% sure I believe that. Also, okay, that still doesn't go into the box. Even if you factor that in, it might. I think it might. If you factor that in, reach that $500 million mark. I don't think it will, though. I don't think it will. And then this last point that they made, merch sales are a factor for Disney. Hey, guys. Hey, guys.
Damn. What the hell is even that?
Merch sales are a factor for Disney. We're including the merch now. Imagine sweeping for Disney. Running cover for Disney. With, yo, the merch sales, bro. Because the movie is absolute dog shit and doing dog shit at the box office. And you're coming back with, yeah, but merch sales. They don't do it with any other franchise, any other IP, any other company. But we're pulling out merch sales. You think if He-Man flops? Who's making the fucking He-Man movie? Let's see here. Let's see here. It's called Masters of the Universe. Let's see here. Masters of the Universe. Who? MGM, Mattel Films and MGM Studios. Mattel. You think that if fucking Masters of the Universe fails at the box office, right? when it comes out, I think later this week, right? Which that's a movie that's going to directly compete for the same audience as Star Wars. The same direct audience. Families and old school Star Wars fans that are just consuming the new Star Wars product. So, you know, dudes who were kids in the 70s. Old Gen Xers, basically. This is a movie that's going, like, the He-Man movie is going to directly compete for their attention. And they're going to do them like, the movie's going to do them like they did Ghostbusters, right? Who are you going to call? He-Man. But if that movie fails, that movie flops at the box office, you think Culture Crave or any of these motherfuckers discussing film, any of them, are going to come out and say, oh yeah, but the merch sales from Mattel? No. It's just it's so fucking asinine, dude. It's so clear, like, running cover, sweeping for motherfuckers. And this movie, Disney knew it was bad. Disney and Lucasfilm knew it was bad. They knew they weren't going to make money on it. It was too far down the pipeline. While Kathleen Kennedy was still there, they knew they were going to have to put it out. They've put it out, and guess what? It's fucking bad. No one wants to see it. Shock of all shocks. And now it's just a question of, where the fuck does Star Wars go for here? Because they canceled the, like, Origins of the Force movie that I think was supposed to be next. James Mangold's movie. And then, like, there's a bunch of other movies that are supposed to be in production or, like, pre-production or whatever. Or they have deals with Taika Waititi's series or whatever. His trilogy of films, or like Rian Johnson's trilogy of films, all that. And it's dead. All of it's dead. They have what's the like Starfighter movie that's coming out. That might actually make money. That might actually get people to come in to watch it. But that's because of two things. One, it has barely anything to do with Star Wars. Probably would be more successful if it didn't have anything to do with Star Wars. It was just its own fucking thing in its own universe. And it has Ryan Gosling in it. And Ryan Gosling is box office money right now. He's coming off a lot of popularity from Project Hail Mary. So, yeah. That might actually do okay. But after that, what the fuck do they have? They have some series, some animated series on Disney Plus, and that's it. They've killed Star Wars. Not only have they killed Star Wars, they've made Star Wars uncool. For decades, Star Wars was uncool. Nerds were into Star Wars. Dudes who got fucking pushed into lockers like Star Wars. Now, not just the dudes who were getting, or at least when I was a kid, not just the dudes that were getting pushed into lockers like Star Wars. The dudes pushing dudes into lockers like Star Wars. Cheerleaders liked Star Wars. Everybody liked Star Wars. It was in the pop culture. People thought it was cool. It spent a lot of time in pop culture becoming cool so that people could accept it and you could become a fan of it. And then Disney came along and they made it uncool. It's so sad. And the rough part is that there's no sci-fi to really replace it. There's no sci-fi. What's the next big sci-fi project that we have coming up that's not Star Wars related? Mass Effect series? I don't trust Amazon to do that shit. Amazon worked with Paramount to make the fucking Halo series. You think they give a shit about video game lore? And Mass Effect is something you have to do by the book because it is so heavily narrative driven. It is the most narrative driven of narrative driven RPGs. It is the sci-fi RPG. You fuck with that, fans are going to come after you. They're going to be mad. I think they're going to do it. By the way, Mass Effect in and of itself is basically like a movie. It's like an interactive movie in terms of the story. There's a lot of fun gameplay too, but it's like an interactive movie with how epic it is. How epic of a tale. All you have to do is transfer that one for one onto the screen. Which is, fun fact, all you really have to do with any of these franchises when it comes to video games, but they don't want to do that for a whole host of reasons that I've said before, and I won't reiterate here. But while the Mandalorian and Grogu movie is failing, we do have one film in the box office right now that most certainly is not. Obsession. Now, if you don't know what Obsession is a horror film. And from what I've gathered, it's basically be careful what you wish for. So there was an episode, right, of Hercules, the animated series when I was a kid. I don't know if you ever saw it, but this is how the episode goes, right? Hercules is a young boy in high school, as we all know, existed in ancient Greece. And he doesn't have a girlfriend. He's lonely because he's a dork at this time. It's his teenage years, right? And Aphrodite comes to visit with him and talks to him. And he's lonely. And he wishes that she would make him a girlfriend from this like clay mold that's been made of this beautiful woman. And she makes the woman out of clay, and she's going to bring the girl out of clay and going to bring her to life. And he's like, make her like this, make her like that, creating his perfect woman physically. And he's like, okay, bring her to life. And she says, okay, well, have you forgotten anything? And he's like, I don't think so. And she's like, her personality? And he just says, I don't know. Make her crazy about me. And so she gives him what he wishes for. And she gives him a girlfriend that's crazy obsessed with him. And she says she's a monster, horrible girlfriend. And this movie is basically that. This movie is basically that episode of Hercules, but done as a movie. Where this guy wishes on something or whatever, that this girl would fall in love with him, become crazy about him. And she turns crazy. Horror stuff ensues. I don't know how much. There's blood involved. So apparently somebody gets hurt at some point. And it's basically a crazy girlfriend horror story. As a guy who likes women, yeah, I do.
Why are you gay?
I've had that experience. Yeah, we've all been there, right? We've all been there where we've had crazy girlfriends. Where we don't know what the fuck is going to happen next girlfriends. But we're excited. Girls that will do all the freaky shit you want. But then they'll also do all the freaky shit you don't want outside of the bedroom. And I think we can all relate with crazy girlfriends, right? And I think this movie probably takes that to the extreme, right? To make it horror level. But this movie was actually done by like a YouTuber, and he did this on a budget, as it states here, of $750,000. So it's made 100 times more its production budget. Not a whole lot of promotion for this, by the way. Saw a bunch of ads for it on X here. That's about it. Maybe double his production budget spent on that. So we're looking at 1.5 million. He may have put to put this movie out. He's done 80 million. Embarrassing. Fucking embarrassing for Hollywood. This is what creativity and good at. By the way, I heard her acting performance in this movie is fucking phenomenal. This is what good creativity and good acting and just focusing on the story and the craft can do. By the way, I think that's why horror as a genre is so untouched and like flourishing so well, is because it has low cost and focuses primarily on the actual content, because it's a very direct form of content. We know particularly how horror stories are supposed to go. Scary, creepy, like gruesome shit is supposed to happen in the movie. There are supposed to be circumstances that lead to that. You start off with the circumstances, end in the horror, and that's the movie. And it has whatever end you want to give it. And the end is the end. And I think that more linear approach and the low cost is what's leading to so many successes within the horror film genre. And it's probably going to continue to lead more. This is also, by the way, is going to inspire more YouTubers to make movies, because they can make $80 fucking million making a movie. You best believe they're going to try. And you're going to see YouTube production movies, YouTube production like companies try to, like, what's stopping someone like Viva La Dirt League from going out and making a movie now? What's stopping from like Geeks and Gamers from going out and making a movie now when they can crowdfund it? Like, it's not that hard. Especially as it's proven here. So yeah, big shout out to Upset. I need to see that. I need to see so many movies, man. I don't have time. I just don't have time to go to the movies anymore. Especially when I live in a movie theater desert. We have one movie theater out here where I live with, I think, 4 or 5 screens. So they are playing the big name movies, and that is it. All right, what's next? Let's go to the PlayStation stuff. All right. So, some video game news. That Mountain Dew is getting warm. I'm going to need ice. You don't want to drink it. You need cold Mountain Dew. Cold Mountain Dew is the only way to go. So, Hazador Gaming states here that Destiny 2 is ending. Final live service update is June 9th, 2026. All expansions are canceled. No content updates after the last one. So it's done. It's over. It's kaput. No more. Let's see what Bungie has to say here. All right. So, where was it earlier? Okay. So, Bungie states in their Destiny 2, every end is a new beginning. For almost 12 years, we have had the joy and honor to explore the Destiny universe with you all. Through all the ups and downs, surprises and triumphs, building Destiny alongside our players has been a monumental privilege. While our love for Destiny 2 has not changed, it has become clear that after the final shape, we have reached the time for our shared worlds and Destiny to live beyond Destiny 2. Which that sounds a lot like, hey, we're going to make a new Destiny, guys. However, that doesn't seem to be the case. And we'll get into that in a second. Even though they stay here. Oh, fuck. Just highlight it. Just highlight it. All right. Even though they stay here. Though active development may be concluding, we will ensure to... Oh, that's not the one that I wanted. Fuck! Where was it? Shit. Oh, okay, here. Yeah, it's the next fucking paragraph. But it says, as our focus turns towards a new beginning for Bungie, we will begin to work incubating our next games. What games are that, you say? Well, funny enough, they don't list any here. And if you go back, according to PC Gamer, Bungie isn't immediately making Destiny 3, is planning layoffs, reports Bloomberg. So the next game that they make isn't going to be Destiny 3. They're done. The studio, this team is done. I mean, look at it. They're not the only ones reporting it, too. IGN, a new report from Bloomberg claims that Bungie will suffer significant layoffs in the near future and that Destiny 3 is not actively in the works. First off, I want to say, I can't remember what video it was. I don't even think I was talking about Destiny. I think I was talking about Helldivers or some shit like that. And I was just mentioning generic PvP, live action service game, fatigue. And I was just saying that across the board, numbers are down for all these games. And Destiny was one of the ones that I mentioned. And I was kind of hinting that these games are in trouble. Most of them are going to be gone. I think I even said Destiny might be gone. And I got so much hate, dude. I got so much hate. I got so much hate for even hinting that Destiny might be dead from fanboys coming out of the woodwork. To be like, Destiny's not dead. 60,000 player count is dead. Whoa. Of course, it ended up getting to a lot lower than that. It's in the teens in terms of the the teens of thousands of players right now. And it ebbs and flows massively like that, by the way. And yeah, I feel like I feel like
vindication.
Yeah. I knew this, here's the thing. Destiny, I want to say, when did Destiny come out? When was the release date of Destiny? The original Destiny. Destiny is an open world massive event released in 2014. All right. So right as I was out of high school. Right as I came out of high school. Because I graduated in 2013. I took this is Destiny for me was always one of those games that I took a look at and I thought, oh, that looks kind of cool. And then they were like, oh, it's a PvP online like shooter. And I was like, nope, I'm out. Don't care. Because I knew even if it had a story, like what was going to be the point? What was going to be the point? In fact, is it PvP? I don't even remember, like, is multiplayer, first player, online shooter, is it? I don't even know if it's PvP or PvE, right? Because I cared so little about Destiny. It was never a thing that I looked at and was like, oh yeah, I definitely want to try that out. And while it was massively popular, I think a lot of people, when this game came out, that if this game came out today, if Destiny came out today, it would get the treatment as like high guard. People will look at it and they would be like, oh, so these guys made Halo, which was great. And now they're trying to do a knockoff bullshit style like Halo game or whatever as an online service game to farm gamers. People would see it that way. It was never interesting to me. And I don't think this is one of those games I think people convinced themselves was better than it actually was. Just because it was one of the first to market in its sort of niche and got in at the ground level. I kind of knew this was always going to be the fate of this franchise. That eventually when live service games started to burn out, which they're starting to burn out now, just in general, whether it's Battle Royale or whether it's co-op or whether it's whatever, hero shooters, whatever, it's starting to burn out. And I think I always knew that this game and other games that have come along after it they're gonna be gone. They're gonna be gone. I'm sorry. The finals is gonna be gone in a couple years. There's no way. The other games like that, like they're just gonna be gone. Like Fortnite might survive, but it's fucking Fortnite. It's massive. And even they have had a massive downturn in player count numbers. So much so that they're having to put Overwatch skins in their game that you can purchase with the asses of the female characters not actually nerfed. Exposed. That's the wrong one. This is the one. They're tempting the gooners in Fortnite to try to get the audience back. Because they've had such a massive downturn in players. So much so that they're having to close down standardized modes in Fortnite. That means modes that actual Epic has developed and sponsors. Not just, random modes that players make. It's not good. By the way, the biggest loser here is PlayStation and Sony. They acquired Bungie. Think about this. Sony acquired Bungie for what, the 3 point something million dollars or $1 billion. And it was supposed to be their answer to the Activision deal with Microsoft, right? You got headlines like this. You got headlines like this. from PlaysStation Lifestyle, right? Sony believes Bungie acquisition is more valuable than Activision's. They actually they put this out. And PlayStation boss Jim Ryan believes that Sony Interactive Entertainment's acquisition of Bungie is more valuable than Microsoft's acquisition of Activision Blizzard. We're still unearthing gems from court documents published in the wake of Microsoft versus blah, 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 blah. And imagine, Bungie has something that is working kind of. Destiny, right? And they're closing that down. And when they say that they don't have Destiny 3 in development and they are going to experience significant layoffs, that means that everybody on that team, aside from the top guys, are getting laid off. And those top guys, you know what they're going to do? They're going to be moved to Marathon. Because Marathon is the skull and bones of Bungie. Where like Ubisoft refuses to let Skull and Bones die. Refuses to accept that Skull and Bones is going to be a failure. Even though there are plenty of games now, there are 2 other games in the online live service genre that are pirate games. You have Sea of Thieves, which is more cartoonish and all that, but it's there. It was the first to market in sort of that niche genre. And you have Windrose, which has really taken off. And it's only $30. Skull and Bones was dead on arrival. It's always been dead. It's never going to be popular. Ubisoft is never going to make it a thing. But they refuse to let it die. They refuse to accept that it is a failure. Because if they do, that's hundreds of millions of dollars that they have to come out and say that they just washed. They just burned, threw away. In the same way that if Bungie comes out and says that Marathon is a failure and refuse, because they're doing the same thing, they refuse to let Marathon be a failure. If Marathon is a failure, that is a failure that's going to sink Bungie. Hundreds of millions of dollars. They better thank their lucky star. If Marathon fails, they better thank their lucky stars that fucking Concord exists. Because nobody, I think, is going to touch the level of financial failure that Concord was. Highguard came close. Highguard definitely came close. But they were only really close in the same way that they failed like Concord. In the way that they were here today and gone tomorrow. The fucking producers, right? Where they're like, maybe we can make more money with a flop than an actual success. Maybe that's what they thought. Jack of all casuals is here. Sony to their fan base. I'll give up billions of dollars before I let the fans get a win. Exactly. But really, Sony has blown billions of dollars in this industry. And it's weird because they hang their hats on the hardware sales. Oh, we sold so many hardware. Yeah, but you're selling this hardware to the same, 100 million people over and over again? You're not expanding your customer base that way. And they think going back to exclusives for single player games, that's going to do it. When really, that's just going to drive the prices of games up again. And you're going to have more people not buying games. And guess what? When you publish those games, you lose out on sales then of those games. So it actually harms you. Because guess what? People's wallets have a carrying capacity. Sorry. You can't be... I bought this latest James Bond game, and it might be good. I might get my $70 worth out of it. But boy, did it feel hard to spend that $70. It felt hard. But yeah, I don't know, man. Billions of dollars down the drain. They closed a studio that had some people playing the game, actually, even though I think the game wasn't worth the time and was only a game that was successful because they were first to market or close to first to market in their genre, in their niche. Close that team's game. Now you're going to shift the few people you don't cut out of your company to go work on the game that isn't a success and never will be a success to what? Delay the inevitable? I think I think somebody mentioned this. Somebody said that like Bungie killed Destiny so that Marathon can bleed out. And that's really what we're going to... Proven strategy for me. Wait for the game to be on sale. See if it's worth it. Yeah, I typically do. But like... Honestly, I thought it would be a good game to stream. Because I'm kind of in between like finding a good game to stream. But it has enough narrative content, I felt, and enough gameplay that actually it's like worth the time to stream. And otherwise, I'm just gonna have to rely on retro games to do that, which is fine. But like, and I'm doing that already with the Fable series. But like, I wanted to play something new that does that as well. And like, I did a stream of Winrose, and I gotta be honest with you, like, I felt bad doing that stream because I didn't do it with anybody else, nobody like playing with me. So it was just me going through the singular experience. And honestly, I felt like I was boring. I felt like I was boring as shit in that stream because it's not a good game that's conducive to streaming unless you're playing with other people. That's just certain things you learn. You know, like, there's certain games, like nobody streams The Sims, okay? The Sims is not a good game that's conducive to streaming. It's just not. We all know November everyone will be streaming GTA 6. Yeah, probably. I'm kind of debating whether or not to do that. I mean, obviously, I'm going to get GTA 6 because everybody's going to get GTA 6. It's going to fucking crash online stores. They better be fucking ready. They better be fucking ready when that game releases because they're going to have a massive amount of down. Their servers are going to be on fire. Literally spontaneously combusting because people are downloading that game so much. But I'm debating whether or not to stream GTA 6 because everybody and their grandma is going to be streaming GTA 6. So who the fuck is going to want to come to me to watch my streams of GTA 6? When there's way more people you could go out there and probably watch. That are more... I won't say better, but more advanced streamers than me. But James Bond game from the same guys that put out Mind's Eye, yeah, I think I'm capable. I think I'll play that. But yeah, Bungie is starting to look like an absolute liability for Sony. And I think eventually Bungie might get shut down. And then those assets will either be sold off or they'll divert purely back to Sony. And then Sony will control pretty much the directions of those franchises. And I think it's there's actually a person who sits on the board of Bungie that is somebody high up in like Sony PlayStation. So that would make sense then that that's the direction they want to go. I don't know. Whoever thought this all goes back to the game farms, man. The game farms. They want to farm gamers with live service. And it's the smart companies now, I think, are starting to realize that that's not going to work anymore. That they got to go back to traditional microtransactions, right? And I think what they're starting to realize is they got to put microtransactions in the game, but they have to be significant. They have to be something that means something, right? I bought Dragon Age Inquisition back in the day. I bought all the DLC for Dragon Age Inquisition. All cosmetic stuff, extra missions, expansions, all that shit. You know why? Because the base game was good. Really fucking good. And I expected the rest of the stuff to be good. And guess what? I wasn't disappointed. When you deliver quality content that is expansions or add-ons to a game, people will buy it in droves. But when you just do the Ubisoft route where you shit out like currency buys so you can just skip all the labor of earning the gold and resources you need to upgrade your shit. No, that's not a proper way to microtransaction a game. Sony was always the rebound person after the breakup of Microsoft. Yeah, because, I mean, they had a pretty bad relationship with Microsoft, but I think it's gotten to the point where you have the same kind of bad relationship with PlayStation, Bungie and them. That's why they have somebody from Sony on their board to keep them in line, right? I just think it's over, man. I think it's over for Bungie, and it's a slow death. They're dying a slow death. So yeah, let's go into the political news circuit here, because apparently a little bit of politics here. J.D. Vance is considering abandoning his run for president in 2028. And the Daily Mail tries to spin this here as like he's left more isolated than ever now that Tulsi Gabbard's away, because trying to paint him as like, oh, J.D. Vance is the anti-war guy, when all he's done is come out and be in support of the actions in Iran. So like, I don't know where the fuck they're getting. Like, I haven't heard J.D. Vance come out and say, no, we need to not be doing, like, what the fuck are they talking about? He's been vehement. The few times he's talked about it, he's been vehemently, like, in support of it. So I don't really know what the hell they're talking about. Destiny was born and died between GTA 5 and GTA. Damn. You ain't lying.
Try to relax your anus.
They really had a whole ass live service game farm open up and close between GTAs. That's wild. But yeah, JD Vance, this thing, like, if JD Vance doesn't run in 2028, it means that the field is probably going to be more open. Trump's not going to run for a third term. It's not happening. It's not happening. There's going to be a lot of people. They're going to be on that. You are coping and seething. He's not running. He's not going to run in 2028. He'll probably endorse a candidate, and that person who gets the endorsement is probably going to win. But the obvious people who are going to run, even if JD Vance is in, is I think Thomas Massey is going to run. I think that he's made it pretty much clear that he's going to run. I think he's going to run. Marco Rubio is probably going to run. I wouldn't be surprised if Vance doesn't run. that Trump supports Marco Rubio. DeSantis might run again. I'm telling you right now, if DeSantis decides to run and Marco Rubio decides to run, Marco Rubio's probably going to get Trump's endorsement. He's the one cabinet member, by the way, who's been knocking it out of the fucking park every single job. Weirdly enough, he's been the all-star. It's like him and Bobby Kennedy, and that's it. Famous words for 007, never say never. I mean, if Trump ran for a third term, it'd be unprecedented. I don't think legally he can do it. They're probably going to try to make the argument that, like, since it's not a third consecutive term, it's not like a third. But then, like, you're going to open the floodgate. Precedent is an important thing. Once you start to do one thing, both sides are going to abuse it. This is why they haven't gotten rid of the filibuster, right? Neither side has gotten rid of the filibuster because they expect at some point that they're going to be out of power. And when they're out of power, they want the ability to put the kibosh on laws that they don't like, and the filibuster lets them do that. If they get rid of it in the hopes that they get to pass all their laws, well, then if they ever get out of power, they're absolutely fucked because the opposition is just going to run roughshod out of him. Top 3 Republicans for 2028, DeSantis, Marco, and J.D. Vance. Yeah, I mean, I would say so. Massey is obviously going to run. He's made that, like, very clear. I would not be surprised if Tulsi Gabbard, if she doesn't run, she isn't tied as vice president to one of these people. I could definitely see J.D. Vance putting Tulsi Gabbard on his ticket if he did run, or Marco Rubio. Really, any of them. DeSantis too. But I think if Marco Rubio and DeSantis both run and J.D. Vance is not running, Rubio's going to get that endorsement and DeSantis isn't going to stand a chance. And if DeSantis ever wants to be president, he cannot embarrass himself again. He got absolutely embarrassed running against Trump. And if he never has the favor of Trump, he's not going to win. He has to stay out. He has to play smart. He has to wait in the wings. Sorry. I like DeSantis. Here's a controversial statement. In the 2020 election, right? Was it 2020? No, 2024 election? Yeah. The last election that we had. I actually preferred DeSantis to Trump. I think DeSantis has a better actual voting record and government record on conservative policies than Trump does. Now, in terms of making actual deals, in terms of the country being stable and all that, financially and everything, Trump seemed like the better candidate to fall on. But in terms of actually supporting conservative policies in a smart way, DeSantis was what I was going to pick. The orange man is the kingmaker. He really is, though. He has set himself up as the Don of the Republican Party. Now, to be fair, Trump's also in his, 80s? Or, going to be in his early 80s soon? How many strong cognitive years does he have left? I mean, he's beaten the odds so far. But, I think once Trump is gone, you're going to see guys it's going to be Charlie Kirk like to the nth degree. Which, by the way, Republicans are treating Charlie Kirk the same way rappers treat Tupac. They're just coming out of the woodwork saying like, oh, Pac said this. The last thing Pac told me. Well, Pac always believed this in the music scene. You don't fucking know. You're just making shit up. It's the same thing with Charlie Kirk. Oh, Charlie Kirk said this. Charlie Kirk told me that. Charlie Kirk believed it. You're just making shit up. Fucking quartering. Smash the like button if you think Charlie Kirk is smiling down at... Shut the fuck up. That's gross. They're all trying to tie themselves to the memory of this guy and his legacy. And the reverence for him in his passing. In the wake of his murder. To give themselves more legitimacy and their opinions more legitimacy. And when Trump is not around anymore, best believe everybody is going to come out of the woodwork to say, the Don told me this. The Don believed this. The Don actually said this. Don't believe any of it. It's all bullshit. It's all people trying to put... Like, it's going to be interesting because it will be a power struggle that the likes you've never seen. Who is going to lead the Republican Party after he's gone? By the way, I expect after he's gone, his kids are going to become more politically active than they already are. I wouldn't be surprised if Don Jr. becomes very, very much the center of the political stage within the next 4 to 8 years. And then he might actually make a run at something. Which would be interesting to see. Anyway, if J.D. Vance does abandon his hopes for 2028 presidential run, I think probably Rubio is going to get the nod from Trump. And that's probably going to be your nominee going forward. Who knows what all is going to take place between here and there. I think that if Vance does run, it's going to be Vance all the way. And I got to be honest with you, the Democratic side is more interesting because I have absolutely fucking no idea who the front runner is for the Democrats. And the thing is that the Democrats, honestly, just based upon like the demographics and like how the legislature is set up, the Democrats might have control of Congress during all this time and not win the presidency once just because they have no heir apparent. They have no succession plan. And while we like to think that we are beyond the archaic ways of feudalism, right? Who is set up to inherit the power, inherit the kingdom, and inherit the throne and the crown. We are, by our nature, still that way. Thousands of years we live like that. It's hard to just give that up. And Donald Trump is the king of the Republican Party. He just is. Does he have an heir? Probably J.D. Vance. Yes. Looks that way. But if he doesn't want the power, then it's just chaos, maybe. If he doesn't give an endorsement besides Vance. On the Democratic side, they don't even have a king. They don't even have a leader. They're just running around with their heads cut off like that. They don't know what they're doing. Just complaining. Just yelling and screaming about everything. Waiting for failure. Waiting for the Republicans to slip up. And they're all out there trying to say just wild shit all the time to make a name for themselves. Hoping that something sticks. Hoping that they can make fun of Trump in some way. And that it'll actually stick. It won't ever, though. That happens typically. Second President John Adams' family had 2 presidents and many governors and senators. So I assume the same with Trump's family as well. Yeah. I mean, look at the Kennedys, right? Look at the Bushes. And the Bushes are a very interesting family, actually. Like, if you go do research into them, like, George W. Bush literally became, like, president just because he wanted to, like, I think he wanted to impress his dad. Like, he wanted to become somebody important. Because George Jr. was essentially the black sheep of the family. He was considered the fuck up, the failure. It was Jeb Bush. Low energy Jeb, who was considered the next big thing in politics, right? The next guy to carry the Bush legacy. A respectable, moderate Republican. Meanwhile, George Jr. was getting DUIs, trading Sammy Sosa, wildcat oil drilling, all this wild shit. He was essentially a massive idiot. And he's lucky, or unlucky, I guess, if you want to, depending how you see it, that he had fucking Cheney around to be the most obvious hand behind the crown in history. Cheney fucking ran that White House. Please clap, Jeb. Yeah. He was sad what happened to that guy. Because he was supposed to be the next big thing in the Republican Party for a long while. There were so many people who were like, man, Jeb Bush, he's going to be the next guy. And Donald Trump just destroyed all that. But yeah. I don't think that I don't think JD Vance is abandoning his run, though. I think JD Vance is going to win, or run, and he's going to win. I think you're going to have, I honestly think you're not going to get another Democrat elected president for probably 2 more election cycles at least. Because the Democrats don't have anybody. They don't have anybody to appeal. Here's the real problem. Everybody that is in leadership of Democrats, everybody who has really kind of like a control of the Democrat, like sort of overarching agenda and like doctrine, is a radical leftist. They're not people like Josh Shapiro in fucking Illinois, right? Or no, Pennsylvania, who's able to ride the line more of considering himself a more moderate Democrat. I'd even say like sly fucking, what's his name? Newsom in California. Who Newsom is not even a leftist or really a liberal. Newsom is a guy who cares only about himself and how he enriches himself and his family. Does not give a fuck about what has to be burned down in between that. But he tries to, and he was down with the radical politics for a long time. But now, in terms of at least the social policy, which that's really what turns a lot of people off from the Democratic Party, is the social policies, social doctrines of the Democratic Party. Trans kids and all that turns people off. He's smart enough. Newsom's smart enough to try to avoid that bullshit now. Run on more moderate platforms. Which is why he might be the nominee in the next election cycle for the Democrats. Or fuck it, run Kamala again. I'm sure that will go well. Because you didn't lose by like a little. Last election, by the way. She wasn't blown out, I'll say that. But she didn't lose by a little. It was a significant margin. And my guess is that it's going to be worse the second time around. She's not going to make up votes. Okay? The Democrats don't have anybody that's not crazy at the top of their party that's young enough to actually run and establish some kind of dynasty. And that's really what they have a problem. They have a succession problem. Major succession problem. Just ask a Democrat what is a woman. First step in determining whether or not they will win. Please put Newsom as the nominee. Let him be embarrassed on the national stage. Yeah, I think that's a factor in why Newsom has not really came out and said he's going to run as president, because he had the debate with DeSantis, which was fucking weird because they were two political candidates having a presidential debate where neither one of them were really viable candidates for the presidency. So, but they had the debate and fucking DeSantis destroyed him. So like, what is he going to do when he gets up there and other people with intelligent questions ask him? Like, it's going to be Tim Walz all over again. Which, by the way, Tim Walz, man, I still think about that debate. I still think about, like, how embarrassing that debate was for Tim Walz, where J.D. Vance just made him look so bad. And the wild part is that was the second most embarrassing debate for the Democrats. The first one was Trump versus Biden, where Biden didn't even know he was there. Like, yay, you answered all the questions, Joe. His fucking wife. All right. But anyway, that's kind of all the topics I really wanted to go through. Let's go ahead and let's start the doom scroll. If you're not familiar, this is the part of the show, or you're catching on the VOD, whatever. This is the part of the show where we just live scroll Twitter. Just open it up, go through. We have not really ever come across any spicy content, any stuff that, would get us taken down immediately and stuff. No adult content, which interestingly enough, shout out to the quartering once again. You don't click on that stuff. You don't interact with it on your main. Funny enough, doesn't show up in your feed. We did have a close call once. There were some adult pleasure device ads being put in. I don't know why. I haven't bought any adult pleasure devices recently.
Try to relax your anus.
But, that's my business, okay? So, I don't know why those ads were there, but we were getting those ads for a little while. And they're gone now. So, we can feel free to just live scroll. Just live scroll. And if we come across the occasional wild twerker or the occasional questionable titty out, we just scroll past fast. It's okay. The AI doesn't even know what's happening. They don't even know. Their back is turned, all right? Just hand them a drink. Hand them a Mickey, okay? The AI is fine, all right? I have friends that are... Yeah. Tim Walz, dude. Tim Walz, I don't know. At a certain level, I get it. Because, like, doing these kinds of shows, podcast shows where I just talk like this, you'll notice that I have awkward moments. Because I'm not very good at speaking extemporaneously, right? That just means like continuously off the cuff for long periods of time, especially. So I get like accidentally saying some shit that you don't want to say. And honestly, my fear that I'm going to say that is really what causes me to flub up a lot and like stall out. So when I sit there and it's silent and I'm getting the fucking Google spin on my forehead, like that's why. Because I'm trying to think of specifically what I want to say next without sounding like a complete dumbass. Often I fail. But I try, okay? And One thing I will say though is that people talk about dead air, and you should not have dead air. If you can, at all costs, try not to have dead air, especially long bouts of dead air, like fucking the Quartering, fucking Jeremy Hamley. I've seen some of his streams, some of his clips or whatever. They play on Kino Casino and stuff. He has dead air for like 8 fucking minutes or some shit. Like, it's wild. Like, you can't do that. When you're doing that, you're purposefully like just not speaking. But like long pauses, like 10, 15 seconds while you gather your thoughts, that sounds awkward, yes, but it's more preferable than stammering and stuttering and also like just saying bullshit that you don't actually mean or repeating yourself or whatever. It's better to... One thing I learned in speech and debate is to get... when I took speech and debate classes way back in the day, was my coach always told me, become comfortable with having silence. Become comfortable with awkward silence, because it's better to have awkward silence than fill it with uncertainty. That's what I try to do. Again, often fail, but I try to do. I hate to see Lethal's fucking timeline on Twitter. Nerd. Yeah, I am a nerd. Obviously. I cover nerd shit. What are you talking about, nerd? Dude, Lethal's timeline. There's a reason why Lethal doesn't like do shit from his main Twitter anymore. And it's just because he's like, he's just like, he's bookmarking too many Morgue Pie videos is what he's doing. He's bookmarking too many Morgue Pie feet pics, all right? He's in Grok making Cortana Blabs like Futanari art. That's what he's doing. He's fucking like looking up like T-girls in the search bar on main, bro. For real. What you really don't want to know is what the fuck is in Maz's. Like, what the fuck is on Maz's timeline? Just kidding. It's probably just all like gameplay from fucking Killing Floor. Anyway, so let's go to the doom scroll now. All right, Epic Mike. What does Epic Mike have to say here? All right. Actually, let's blow it up a little bit more. Let's blow it up a little bit more. All right. Why does it keep... Okay. If at any time in your life you start to feel like you need the government to be more involved... Proofread, Mike! You need the government to be more involved in you or your children's personal affairs, you should bash your thumb with a hammer and realize how stupid that idea is. What is this? Online platforms should protect kids, not hurt them through addictive design features. Tennessee is proud to lead a bipartisan coalition opposing federal legislation that would help big tech at the expense of America's children. Okay, so stand up. Tennessee opposes the House Kids Act and supports stronger safeguards to protect minors from harmful, addictive online platforms. Okay, but this is the thing, right? This is one of those things where they're like, they always do this. They always try to be like, it's for the children. We have to save the children. You know who should protect the children? The fucking parents. There are safeguards already there that the parents just have to put in place. Or teach your kids, hey, don't be a dumbass. Don't go online and do these sorts of things. It'll get you in trouble. It's not that hard. And if you're like, oh, well, in some cases, those people are usually stupid. And this is the thing. Again, We can't make laws for stupid people. We have to stop doing this. We have to make laws. We have to go back to the old school ways. We have to go back to the old ways, the old magic, where you make laws for intelligent people, just standard intelligent people. And dumb people just have to adjust. And if they can't, well, they get in trouble. And then they learn. And then hopefully they get smarter. Tennessee has Memphis. Enough said about that issue. Damn.
Damn.
Jack of all casuals, you don't like Memphis? I mean, I'm neutral on Memphis, so I hate all you want, I guess. Oh no, my kids can see the dark side of YouTube. Yeah, parental controls do exist. It's not that hard. Police your kids. Parent your kids. It's not that hard. You're not their buddy, by the way. You're their parent. Parent them. We don't need laws to do this. Laws are not for everything. All right? By the way, I would argue that this is almost like as bad as like putting Sharia law in government. Because like Sharia law in Islam is supposed to be laws that like govern your interactions as a family and how you behave culturally. Like if you go look at Sharia law and what it says. This is the same kind of shit. How you behave culturally. How you interact with how you govern your family. That should not be part of government. Cannot really be part of government, Sharia law. And this should not be part of government. I don't know. I'm getting Coke nose. I'm getting my Coke fiend nose. It's coming in. I think I get more of an itchy nose like the angrier I get about something. I'm not actually on cocaine. I'm not yet. Representative Thomas Massey vacationing with Marjorie Taylor Greene in Costa Rica. They're swinging, bro. They're... If you want Sharia law, go to the Middle East. Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, Representative Thomas Massey and Marjorie Taylor, like, look at this group. This is very like my wife and I saw you guys from across the bar. The strong those vibes. That's oh my gosh. Fucking iDubbbz. iDubbbz is done, man. Stick a fork in him. Who's the bull in that group? Who's the bull in that group? I know nothing about Marjorie Taylor Greene's boyfriend because she's divorced, right? I know nothing about him. It's hard for me to think that Thomas Massey is a bull because like he has to take Viagra. Like it's hard to. I don't know about that one. I don't know about that one. I'm putting a totally not gay team. Fucking Siraj. Siraj gets more shit. This is a meme, by the way, for those of you who don't know. Siraj is like a conservative like YouTuber and definitely not gay, but he gets called gay all the time. And I don't mean definitely not gay the way like Benny Johnson is definitely not gay. Anyway. Mandalorian actor says he has unbelievably small budget contract for a show, but is grateful. You see the angels when he sits at his hip. There's a reason why people like that looks like John Wayne, but it's because it's me. What the fuck is that? Oh my. Angles? Am I reading that wrong? I'm probably reading it. You see the angles when he sits at his hip. There's a reason why people like... What the fuck is this quote? I don't know if Geeks and Gamers wrote that quote wrong, but... Did Beardo write this quote? Holy fuck. Angles, angel, no, angel in the state. No angel, yeah. I know I fucked that up, but like, there's a reason why people like, it's still fucked up. Like, who wrote this article? Does this have an article? It does have an article linked to it. Alex, oh okay. It's the actual like Geeks and Gamers writer guy. Well, shout out. I fucked up some of that quote. I'll admit it. But it's still also a janky quote. I'm not standing down from that. Pam Bondi has been diagnosed with thyroid cancer. Is this real? I don't know if that's real. If that is real, that's wow. Or maybe they're just trying to meme and say that she has thyroid cancer because Tulsi Gabbard had to step down because her husband has cancer. They're trying to get rid of Pam Bondi because Pam Bondi's not good at her job. She just isn't. When the Shikari beat hits, experience Ludwig kind of fucking. I just can't take it, dude. I can't take. People think that this fucker is going to be what sells tickets, and it's not. Like, Lego Batman is so fucking goated. I've never played it, so. The Lego games seemed like I might be into them, but they would, like, take up a large portion of my life, so I just, fucking cokehead. I'm not a cokehead! I just have an itchy nose. It stopped itching now, actually. But now I'm thinking it's probably going to itch more. This company just took news headlines by storm. Oh, that's a fucking ad. AIDS. They're one letter apart. That's why they feel like each other. Strauss Zelnick, the boss of Rockstar Games' parent company Take-Two, has pushed back the suggestion Red Dead Online was a missed opportunity, insisting it has been immensely successful and long-lasting. Is it even running still? I guess it's still up and running, but nobody plays it. I would think like it has a lot of PvE like content to it. I don't know. I've never played it. It's another one of those things that like, I might try that out sometime. They never did. I did play GTA Online like once, and so playing GTA Online for me was a bit like the one time I went out clubbing with my friends back in college. Like, I remember the music was loud. So loud I couldn't actually talk to any of the women I wanted to talk to. I couldn't, like the drinks were super watered down. Then I went to the bathroom and somebody had taken a shit in the urinal. And I came out and I told my friends, you know, I don't think this is for me. I don't think this life is for me. It's not my style. And I played one time GTA Online, and I was like, you know what? I don't think this is for me. I don't think this fits me. Like, I get it. It's cool. It has potential. If there were certain boundaries and limitations on it, I'd be down for this. But no, it just wasn't for me. GTA Online has all the shark cards money. They do. That's why it exists, right? Like GTA 6 gonna make back its like, I don't know, fucking $1 billion budget that it has or whatever, just in shark cards alone. Like, it's not gonna need like actual games that they could probably sell the game for free or at a super reduced cost and just make up their budget in shark cards. James Gunn's DCU. That's fucking exposed. Keep on. Just look at it, dude. Fucking crypto. I can't stand crypto, dude. I can't stand it. It's wild that, like, this is, I've said this before, I'll say it again. What DC needs to do, get rid of fucking James Gunn after the merger with Paramount, or not. Is it Paramount? Yeah. Get rid of fucking James Gunn after the merger and just put the kibosh on everything live action. Put DC back into animation. Make animated movies and TV series. Get a new generation of young viewers interested in that shit. And then maybe in about 10 years' time, bring it back to live action. Then you might actually have something. You can get back into it. But trying to do live action, a third reboot, it's going to be, even if it's good, it's going to be a struggle to be successful. And you're not going to get it right, probably. Especially if you do Superman. Even if you do Superman again in a live action movie, it has to be Joseph Kosinski, the guy who did like Top Gun Maverick and F1. He's the only guy, I think, that could do an Americana Superman film like that and it actually come out good. That gets that kind of masculinity, gets that kind of character, gets that kind of pure altruism and superhero vibe than like pretty much anyone else in Hollywood. But knowing them, knowing modern Hollywood, they probably get Denis Villeneuve to do Superman. And you get like 5 lines of dialogue the whole Superman movie. With a lot of large, expansive shots of Superman fighting far away. I don't like Denis Villeneuve movies. I've come to that realization. I just don't. Oh, the Biden girl for titties out. We'll scroll past. It's blurred out, so we're probably okay, but we'll just... I'm not really interested in whatever story that was anyway. I know the perfect Superman. Henry Cavill is old Superman from Kingdom Come. I mean, they could do that. They could bring Henry Cavill back and like do an old Superman. But I don't know. It's still you're dealing with old baggage again, like because people are gonna link it to the Snyder movies and like you just need a clean break. You need a clean break. Start over in the trend. You know, there's a movie. It's called Burnt, right? With what's his name? Oh gosh, so many actors' names. The guy who played. Now it's bothering me. Now I'm gonna have to pull out the autism. Bradley Cooper. Obviously. Don't know why I couldn't think of his name. There's a movie called Burnt, right? And it's Bradley Cooper. And in the movie, he plays a chef that had a Michelin-starred restaurant. He had everything. He was at the top of his game in the like world of like being a chef. And he fucks up, destroys everything with drugs and being a complete terrible person. And he ruins it all, loses his restaurant, loses all his money, loses all his friends, loses everything. And that's where he is at the start of the movie. And what he does is he gets a low-level job at some fucking kitchen, and he shucks oysters. And his thing is he's going to shuck like, what is it, like 100,000 or 1,000,000 oysters or whatever as like penance for the bullshit that he did. And then he works hard to regain his status of where he was. He works hard in the trenches from the bottom to the top again. And I think that's what DC needs to do. DC needs to go shuck 100,000 oysters and then work their way from the bottom to the top again to be respected for people to give them another chance. That's where they are as a franchise. No. They should make half measures. Oh yeah, of course. That's what they're gonna do. Obviously. They're not gonna actually they're actually gonna do the things that are smart. Like your AI slop bores me. Dope community note, never beating the microslop allegations. AI cost crisis has started. Valve reportedly told engineers to stop using cloud because AI bills were exploding, while the CEO says blah, blah, blah. Reporters of canceling cloud license refers to Microsoft, not Valve. Uber, not Valve. Exhausted yearly, blah, blah, blah. So these people are just lying. The hottest casino. That's what okay, so don't believe them. I paid Gavin for free. That's good. This portrait is terrible. Like, how does this look anything like him? Like, this is like just a generic white dude. Like, not that he doesn't look like a generic white dude, but like different generic white dudes. Like, Marathon. Are they actually doing like, okay, here's some bullshit that we put in Marathon now in hopes to vainly get players. The Boys stars Karen Fukuhara and Tomer Capone recreate the comic cover. All right, cool. Boy, the Boys like ending, like even at the end of the show, even in death, Homelander is giving us memes. Just a meme factory, that character and fucking Anthony Starr. That's the only thing good to come out of that show. Dan White, we can't stand soccer. Dan White, can't stand soccer. I think it's the least talented sport on earth. There's a reason 3-year-olds can play soccer. Well, 3-year-olds can also play basketball too and hit a baseball. You ask my almost 4-year-old daughter. She can hit a T-ball, all right, but I think it's just he doesn't like soccer. Probably because it's all cardio. Dana White doesn't seem like a cardio boy to me. Horror is killing it this year. Oh yeah, this is the thing. 20 years old Kane Parsons may become the youngest filmmaker to have a film at #1 at the box office in its opening weekend. Backrooms is tracking for a $40 to $50 million opening. Bro, imagine a box office where in its second week, a Star Wars film is making less money than an indie horror film based on a very indie video game made by a 20-year-old YouTuber.
Damn!
Ken Paxton defeats John Cornyn, Republican primary. Well, dude, Roseanne Barr is a crazy person, but also weirdly intelligent. Jennifer Lopez jokes about meeting Brett Goldstein for the first time about office romance. You weren't a weirdo. Yeah, I think this is a Netflix movie. By the way, I don't know why, like, Netflix has gotten recently into this weird subgenre where they're just like, they're putting older women with younger men, like, continuously. Like, Nicole Kidman had a fucking movie like that with, what's his name? Zac Efron. J-Lo has this movie with, Brett Goldstein here. And, like, they're like 10 years difference, too. Yeah, I understand. But, like, she's still clearly older than him. And, like, it's not the only movie to do that or show to do that. They keep doing it. I don't know why. Like, Netflix has a cougar fetish. Her physique. Damn. Well, hello. Hello.
It's time to go. Hope it doesn't end soon.
Touching grass with little Kata. Damn, Kata. He's short. Somehow I'll be called a tourist. Yeah, he plays Destiny. But Destiny's dead. Yeah. Amadeus, let's see here. Amadeus, the film, is perfect. Flawless. No notes. For this reason, I have little to no desire to watch the new show Amadeus on Stars. I could lie and pretend I'm going to give it a shot, but why is the show being made to begin with when this film is perfect as it exists? Yeah. I mean, Amadeus was a good movie. It won, I think, several Academy Awards. I remember seeing it in choir class. One day we watched it back in high school. It's a good film. They really play up his rivalry with Salieri when there wasn't as much of a rivalry actually there. No notes? Do you mean too many? Too many notes. Fun fact, that's something they do in the movie, is that the Austrian emperor, he doesn't like one of Mozart's operas because he tells Mozart that the opera has too many notes and that the ear can only like process so many notes at a time. And Mozart is like, it has as many notes as it just needs to have. So it's a funny, interesting. When Andy comes back with new toy, he's got those Warhammer toys. That's a good one. AI. Finally, in a 2026 video game that doesn't require path tracing to have indoor mirrors do basic reflections like this one. Seems that 007 First Light is using the same technique here. Yeah, but also, they also do like dumb things. Like, there's a part where he's going through the like training facility, right? It's a cutscene. And this guy, they tell the guy to open the door, and he signals to another guy to open the door. And he opens the door, but the switch to open the door to this secure facility is on the outside. What? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Why we have Huawei making ads now? Fuck, dude. That's Chinese government right there. Moonbase. Sydney Sweeney's ex-fiance, Jonathan Davino, really punching above his weight, by the way, spoke on Sydney's recent trending series, Euphoria. What do you think of the show? Isn't she great? She can do better for herself. Playing nudity on series can only get you this far. Years from now, she'll be forgotten. This is why we couldn't work out. She will do anything for the screen, even if it means losing her morals. I wish her the best of luck. I'm better without it. Damn.
Damn.
If that's actually what he said, that's pretty wild. I mean, I guess he's not simping, so there's at least that. Greatest triumph of urban infrastructural engineering since Los Angeles rolled out the La Sombrita. What? I don't even know. We built these water refill points. Water refill. London now is over 5. So, what?
What the hell is even that?
That man was drowning while some of us were dying of thirst, and he still fucked it up. I mean, I guess. Yeah. Something tells me that he is in the financial position. I don't know what the fuck that guy does, but he's in the financial position that he can have attractive women like him. Even if he's not like the greatest of persons or interesting or funny. But yeah, I get it. I get your point. He was like I said, he was definitely punching above his weight in terms of physical allocation, right? She's definitely better than him physically. But I don't... Clearly, he has something beyond that just in mind. I don't know. There's definitely been some hot girls in my... Listen, I wasn't always as schlubby as I am now. Back in the day, when I actually worked out and was fairly fit, attractive women were attracted to me. Some of them. Rarely. And I went out with some of them. And I gotta be honest with you. Most of those girls, the very attractive ones, especially the ones that I'm kind of like, what are you doing fucking talking to me? Like, what? They didn't have a whole lot to offer besides the fact that they were hot. Because interestingly enough, when you are not hot or not attractive, most guys know this, by the way, because most of us are not attractive, that is. Or when you at least have low self-esteem about yourself, it makes you do something that's called develop a personality. Like, I had to become funny. I know I'm not funny here. But out in the wild, I'm funny. I'm situational funny, okay? I had to become funny and charming to get women to like me, okay? Because I'm ugly. That's what being ugly does, okay? Being ugly makes you become a better person. And if you're physically ugly and you're also internally ugly, well then, like, what do you offer in the world? Like, do an evaluation. Try a little bit harder, you know, at life. You better hope Mrs. Bofa ain't seeing this. What? My wife used to be captain of the cheerleading team. And my wife was the most attractive girl with the best personality that I dated, which is why I married her. Clearly. Probably because she had slight self-esteem issues. But we're not going to get into that. We're not going to get into that because I'm not Jeremy, okay? I'm not the quartering. I'm not the kind of dude who's out here telling the world that like his wife has a smelly pussy. All right. That's not me. I'm not putting my wife's like personal business out there. She's amazing. I love her. Mother of my children. Anyway, speaking of wet things, this great discovery of water fountains that the mayor of London has found out. Sadiq Khan, Middle Easterner who's mayor of London, not surprising that he's just finding out about water fountains. Refill point. This is water fountains. This is... So tired of it. What the fuck? What the fuck is this? Christopher Nolan chose a Mexican who said only Latinos should be... I think he's actually like Ecuadorian or some shit like that. Only Latinos should be playing Latino to play the role of an old man Greek islander, Eumaeus. I'm probably fucking that up. On the right, a random Greek islander. 0 Greeks playing in the Odyssey. Nolan is anti-Greek. I don't know if it's that. I think you're hard pressed to find just like a ton of Greek actors, unless it's My Big Fat Greek Wedding, which I don't think you're going to get Odyssey level acting skills out of the cast of My Big Fat Greek Wedding. Though it would be fun to see the Odyssey played by the cast of My Big Fat Greek Wedding, because I think you could get some comedy gold out of that. But yeah, I know our lunch reservations in Japan. That's yeah. Where are you? All right. Won't he do it? Blah, blah, blah. Fired up, ready to go. Okay. Wire. Idris Elba says he was never in the race to play James Bond for the new 007 movie. They're going with someone younger. Yeah, I saw this earlier. Yeah. True. Like that all makes sense. Because I know somebody wanted him. Some people wanted him to play James Bond, and like he's too old, and like that's just the short of it. It's afraid. Jarvis, damn dude, he's getting personal. What is there to even say? Dog accidentally fires shotgun from vehicle, injuring woman in Nebraska. Yeah, yo, what the what?
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
Is the dog Bondman from like fucking Spy Family? Like, nobody probably knows that reference, but it's a niche anime reference. I'm fixing it ASAP. Damn, dog. I don't even know who this is. But clearly has a type. There is another. Marco Rubio. Yeah. If JD Vance doesn't run, it's going to be Rubio. And as much as Rubio, I think Rubio is a very smart politician. Who they don't give him enough credit for how smart he is. Because I think Rubio is playing along with everything that Trump wants because he knows Trump has all the power. Nobody moves up the ladder without the blessing of the Don. And that eventually the Don's going to go away. And it's going to probably coincide with his eventual advancement in the party. And if he's able to run and get the blessing of the Don, and he ends up becoming president, he is going to put in his own administration and his own policies. That's what he cares about. And he's willing to do exactly what Trump wants him to do to get that done. And do it to the best of his abilities. He's being a top employee to one day become regional fucking manager. What does your desktop look like right now? I mean, not as busy as that. Fairly busy, though. Oh, the year is 2026 and we're still blaming a cold for flops. Yeah, by the way, there's a ton of movies in theaters right now. They're all fairly doing well. And like, historically, movies are doing well this year at the box office. And as we just saw, $80 million for a movie that was made with $750,000 budget. You can't use the excuse anymore of like, it's the vid, okay? It's sickness that's stopping people from going. No, it's not. Avengers Secret Wars rumor details on two major MCU return. Okay. Republicans keep trying to make Biden's mental capacity an issue. Shameless, but it's still your brain. Wait. 3 trips to Walter Reed in 13 months. 2 trips to Walter Reed in 13 months. Everything is perfect. Oh, he's trying to say like Trump is unhealthy or whatever. 10 years ago today, Olivia Munn made her debut as Psylocke in X-Men Apocalypse. Yeah. Not the greatest actress. And they didn't give her a lot of lines to say. But she wore the outfit well. That's for sure. Not great special effects. Special effects in this film are not as good as I remember. The Glacier engine is pure wizardry. It looks fairly good, yeah. Anyway. Huge if true. R.I.P. Doctor Who. Doctor Who Christmas special scrapped because no one wants to play Doctor Who. Out of time, hit TV show Christmas special could be scrapped because bosses can't find anyone to play the lead character.
Boy.
Yeah, Doctor Who is dead, boys. Like, there's no coming back. See you in like 30 years, maybe, when they blow the dust off you. Like, I don't think that show's ever. I don't think that's just ever coming back. Anyway, Glenn Greenwald is so damn smart and absolutely crushed it on Jubilee. Why is it? First off, I've read some of the things that Glenn Greenwald has said. That's not 100% true. Anyway, Henry Cavill's Highlander. This is gonna be a good movie. I think. I'm anticipating it. Anyway, where are we at? 2:21. I think we're gonna call here. What is it? Almost 1 here where I am. I might fire up a James Bond stream after this, actually, because I want to play more of it. Yeah, I might fire. I don't know how long I'll play, but I want to play more of it. So I'll probably fire up a James Bond stream after this. Might take a 15-minute, 20-minute break in between. But as for this show, that's going to be the end of it tonight. Hope you've enjoyed it. Shout out to Jack of all casuals in the chat. Shout out to everybody who's lurking. Everybody came in, took a look at the stream. All the VOD watchers. Everybody out there, subscribers, members, all that. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Hype the video as always. Appreciate you guys. You guys are what make this whole thing go around. And we'll talk to you again later. See you on the gaming stream on Thursday. Might stream more games this week because wanting to play more of this James Bond game, so probably going to do more of that, especially in like 20 minutes from now. And yeah, we'll have another one of these Doom Scrollcast next Tuesday, and somewhere between 10 and 11, basically when we start. And we will catch you on the flip side. Have a good night.